Most people spend their lives caring too much about the wrong things. That's the truth Mark Manson puts right at the center of this book, and it's the reason millions of people keep coming back to it. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a has sold over 20 million copies worldwide because it speaks directly to the frustration so many people feel when they try to follow the usual advice and still end up stuck. This book doesn't try to make you feel better with empty motivation. It teaches you to change how you think about problems, values, happiness, and even death. The value of not caring about everything. One of the first ideas in the book is that we all care too much. But it's not that we care in the wrong way, it's that we don't choose what we care about. Manson says that when you try to give a about everything, you end up not giving enough attention to the things that really matter. Life is full of problems. You only have so much time, so much energy, and so much patience. If you waste that energy on every small thing that annoys you, you'll run out of it when it actually counts. You will always care about something, you just have to choose it. That means deciding which problems are worth facing. It means focusing on long-term meaning instead of short-term comfort. This is not apathy, it's focus. It's about becoming clear on what matters most and letting go of everything that does not. Happiness comes from solving problems. Most people think happiness means feeling good all the time. Manson says that's not how it works. You're never going to get rid of problems. When one disappears, another will take its place. That's how life works. The goal isn't to escape problems. The goal is to have better ones. This means choosing the kind of problems that help you grow. For example, learning a new skill is hard, but it's a good problem to have. Having a difficult but honest relationship is better than having a perfect one, where you never speak the truth. Solving problems gives us a sense of progress. It shows us that we are capable. That's where real happiness comes from. Not from being perfect, but from working through things that matter. Responsibility, not blame. In one of the most powerful chapters, Manson talks about the difference between fault and responsibility. A lot of people wait for someone else to fix their life because they think their pain is not their fault, and often it's true. Bad things happen that you didn't ask for, but that doesn't mean you don't have to deal with them. Manson makes it clear that you are always responsible for how you respond. It's not fair, but it's true. No one else can do the work for you. The moment you accept responsibility, you take control. You stop waiting and start acting. That's the only way to make real progress. You don't have to blame yourself to take ownership. You just have to stop giving away your power. The truth about certainty. The book also explains how dangerous it is to always want to be right. Most people are afraid of being wrong. They build their whole identity around their opinions. But Manson says that the need to be right all the time is a weakness. It stops you from learning and changing. He argues that the more certain you are, the less you grow. That's because you stop asking questions. You stop listening. You start defending old ideas instead of testing new ones. If you want to improve your life, you need to get comfortable with being wrong. You need to see your beliefs as tools, not as unchangeable truths. That's how you get smarter. That's how you get stronger. Growth starts with honesty. Death gives life, meaning. Later in the book, Manson shares a deep idea about death. He says that we're often afraid to talk about it, but we shouldn't be. Death is what gives life meaning. When you realize that time is limited, you start to live differently. You stop wasting time on arguments. You stop chasing things that don't matter. You start making choices that reflect your real values. If you live forever, nothing would matter. You could always try again. But life doesn't work like that. Knowing that one day you will die helps you understand what's actually worth caring about. This is the core of the whole book. You stop giving so many fucks, not because you don't care, but because you finally see what deserves your care. Values. Manson also talks about values. He says that many people are unhappy because they live by bad values. For example, wanting to always feel good is not a good value. It makes you avoid pain, and that stops you from growing. Wanting to always be right is not a good value. It makes you defensive and stuck. Good values are reality-based. They're helpful, and they're within your control. Things like honesty, growth, curiosity, and responsibility. When your values are strong, your actions become more focused. You stop chasing what looks good and start building what feels right. Your goals become clearer. Your energy becomes more powerful, and you start to accept pain when it leads to something meaningful. The book challenges the idea that being special is the answer. A lot of modern self-help teaches people to believe they are extraordinary. Manson argues that this creates more anxiety. When everyone is told they must stand out, they become scared to fail. They become obsessed with success. But not everyone will be great, and that's okay. The power of acceptance. Manson says that accepting your average life isn't the same as settling. It's about being honest. It's about building a life that matters to you, not one that looks amazing to other people. You don't need to be famous to be happy. You don't need to be perfect to have value. You just need to live in a way that matches your values and face your problems with courage. He also writes about the pain of rejection. He explains that rejection is part of living a clear and honest life. If you want to say yes to the things that matter, you have to say no to the things that don't. That includes people. That includes goals. You can't avoid rejection, but you can control how you respond to it. If you're always afraid of what others think, you'll never be free. When you accept rejection as a normal part of life, you become stronger. You learn to speak more clearly. You stop trying to please everyone. And that creates space for real connection and purpose. Toward the end of the book, Manson tells the story of a man named Dave Mustaine. He was kicked out of Metallica before they became one of the biggest bands in the world. He spent his life trying to prove himself. He formed another band and became very successful. But he said he still felt like a failure because he wasn't more successful than the people who rejected him. Manson uses this story to show how your values shape your success. If your value is being better than others, you will never feel good enough. But if your value is learning, creating, or growing, then success becomes about progress, not comparison. That's one of the final lessons of the book. You can't control everything, but you can control your values. You can control what you choose to focus on. You can control how you respond to pain. You can control which problems you're willing to solve. These are small choices, but over time, they build a better life. The subtle art of not giving a fuck isn't about being cold. It's about being clear. It's about giving your time and energy to what really matters because you understand what doesn't. If you're ready to stop caring about the things that don't matter and start prioritizing what's truly important, check out The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck using the Amazon link in the description. It helps support the channel, and more importantly, it might be the best investment you make all year. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep growing, keep learning, and take control of your future.